Welcome back, Cowboys Nation, to episode 4 of the Finish the Fight podcast. My name is Andrew. I'm the host, and I'm here with my roommate Cornbread today. We're going to be going over a few games for Sunday. Nothing too crazy, just the games that we think are going to be the best between all of them, just not blowouts. And then I'm also going to be going over the Cincinnati and Dallas game, preview, looking into that one, and if I actually think we can win. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and let's get started. All right, and getting into things, we're going to start off with this matchup. We're going to be looking at the 6-6 Arizona Cardinals going to MetLife at the 5-7 Giants. Giants are coming off 4 straight wins and a huge win off Seattle in their last game, and the Arizona Cardinals are looking a little bit sluggish with dropping 3 of their last 4. So what do you think about this matchup, Cornbread?
To be honest, I think it's going to be a good, Cardinals offense against a good Giants, not good on both sides, but a better than average offense with the Cardinals and a better than average defense with the Giants. The Giants ended up getting, I think it was 5 sacks against Russell Wilson last week. I really doubt they're going to be able to repeat that. But, even if they can disrupt Kyler Murray, get him running out of the pocket and have him throwing on the run, that's going to help them out. Keeping the Cardinals from scoring points. So it'll help the Giants' not so great offense.
For sure. Going into this matchup, the Giants, Daniel Jones is questionable at the quarterback position. So debating on how that goes, it's going to be either him or Colt McCoy.
Good old Colt McCoy, UT.
Good old Colt McCoy, but I'd still want to have Daniel Jones as my quarterback if I'm going with somebody young who can still run the ball and kind of step up in that pocket. Watching the last Giants game, I didn't see Colt McCoy do a whole lot of that. He was able to dump the ball off quite a few times, but, obviously with him being an older quarterback, he's not one to pull the ball and take off running 80 yards down the field.
Yeah, 130 passing yards or something?
Yes.
Yeah, it was god-awful.
He's okay. He's an average backup quarterback, as I'd say, in the NFL. Like the point you made, I think the Giants' defensive line is going to have to be a huge factor in this game. Like you said last week, they had 5 sacks on Russell Wilson and 10 quarterback hits on him. They're tied for 8th this season with 32 sacks on the season. And like you said, on the other side of the ball, it's going to be above-average defense against above-average offense, in my opinion, with having DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Those two are the only real two you need, if I'm being honest. If they could get hot, then the game's pretty much out of reach, in my opinion. But you still got to rely on good old Larry Fitzgerald on the other side, who's been part of that organization for so long that he's going to be consistent.
Hopkins and I think Kenyon Drake are both questionable for the game.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge going into that.
Big deciding factor right there.
I agree with that. I think
they still got Chase Edmonds though, which he's not really a powerhouse running back. He's more of what would you compare, a Darren Sproles, a dump off.
A dump off.
Screen pass.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a receiving back in my opinion. Yeah. But I do got a bold prediction for this game. I think Kyler has a monster game with 200-plus passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, and 100 yards rushing. I think he's absolutely going to stomp on this Giants defense and just get their mojo back going into the playoffs. I know the Rams are coming off a big win on the Patriots, so they're sitting at that 1st seed, and they're also sitting behind Seattle. So right now Arizona's at that 3rd seed, and if they want to stay alive, then this has got to be a must-win game for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. The Cardinals are on a 3-game losing streak. Giants won the last 4 or 5. I don't see the Giants taking this game, but I do see them making it pretty close. If I had the over/under, I'm gonna take the under. It's at 45.5. I don't think they're going to score that much, but it's going to be pretty close. I think the Giants are going to lose 24-20, but I do think Gallman and Jones run for 150 yards together.
Right. I like it. So like you said, the over-under sitting at 45.5 points. I'm also going to take the under at 40 points. I think Arizona wins this one pretty easily, 27-13. All right, and the next game we're going to get into is going to be the 6-6 Minnesota Vikings going to the 7-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think Minnesota really has a chance coming into this game. Tampa's coming off a bye. And if you look at Minnesota's last 3 games, they're coming off a loss in Dallas. It was 31-28 against a real bad Dallas team. Obviously, no Dak Prescott, no offensive line. They kind of let Zeke just pummel their rush defense. So, loss in Dallas, and they're coming off a 28-27 victory to the Carolina Panthers. As you know, no Christian McCaffrey and Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, so they barely squeezed by that one. And then they barely beat a very bad Jaguars team who was 27-24.
Yeah, it's weird because even though they're, one game apart in their standings, Vikings 6-6, Bucks 7-5, it's just too. I think it's too big of a gap. The Vikings do have some confidence. They won their last 5 of 6, but that also means that they started their season out like shit. But it's just, I don't know. You got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins back there. He did all right against the Jags. 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. But then again, it's the Jags.
Yeah, I think the only way they really stay in this game is by feeding Dalvin Cook the ball. He's averaging number 1 right now in the league with 113.6 yards per carry, and he's also leading the league in touchdowns with 13. But he is going against the number 1 rushing defense in the league right now, who's only averaging 3.3 yards per carry and 74.2 yards per game. So I think that's going to be the matchup to watch if the Vikings have any chance to stay in this. It's going to be getting Dalvin Cook going or relying in the passing games in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I was going to say probably their best bet is going to be passing because that front line of the Bucks is just too good. They're first in run defense, so I'm going to guess they're going to hold Dalvin Cook down. I would probably say I'm going to guess under 70 yards.
I'll give him 80. I don't think he makes it over 100, but I think if they want to win, they're going to have to attack that passing defense in the Bucks, who they're pretty mediocre right now. They're sitting at 18th in pass defense rank. They're giving about 255 yards per game, and I do like Justin Jefferson on the outside. He's been playing outstanding, out of his shoes for a rookie.
Yeah, Thielen's back too. Well, just been back.
Thielen,
Second game
Kirk
back,
Cousins. I think if they want to stay in this one, then they're going to have to get their passing attack going for sure. But you look at the other side of the ball, and we got Tom Brady and the Bucks. I just don't see them having a bad game. They have been coming off a few rough weeks. I think they've dropped the 3 of the last 4, but they're coming off the bye. And I think Tom Brady's going to have a big game. He just got too many weapons in Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Chris Godwin, and Ronald Jones in the backfield. I just don't see their offense being stopped, really.
Yeah, they got a lot of the Bucks got a lot of receiving weapons, but honestly, Jones is not a bad running back at all. I think that man's got 7 yards a carry or something on the year, and so if they can feed him the ball. Either he's going to be breaking through the line or they're going to try and stop him with the run D, and then you got, 4 or 5 different weapons on the Bucs offense that can just tear you apart. Yeah,
I 100% agree there. Vegas has this game at Tampa with 6.5-point favorites, and the over-under at 53. I'm going to go ahead and take the over here, and I think the Bucs win 30-24.
See, I'm going to take the over. I think it's going to be a little high scoring. But I got a feeling the Vikings are probably going to be playing from behind most of the game. But my guess is going to be 34-24 Bucks.
All right. I like it. All right. And the last game we're going to get into is going to be Sunday Night Football. The 11-1 Pittsburgh Steelers going to Bills Mafia, Buffalo Bills, who's sitting at 9-3. What do you think about this game?
The Steelers are just the worst. Before this last game against Washington, I've been saying it all season that I think they're the weakest undefeated team that I've seen. Everybody they played, I think they've only won 4 out of their 10 games by more than 10 points, and they were against the Bengals, Jags, and just the shits of the league. So I don't think their record is as good as the team is, or I don't think the team is as good as the record is. So I just see the Bills taking it. I feel like it's going to be an aired out game. Just how Ben Roethlisberger is, and then all the weapons they got over there with Claypool, Schuster, and then you got Connor you can dump it off to. And they had 20 rushing yards against the Washington nameless football team last week. So I just think it's going to be an air out game, but I do think the Bills are going to come with. They are the favorites, but a lot of people might think that the Steelers are going to be the favorites because they're 11-1.
Yeah.
But I take the Bills.
All right. See, I like your points. I do kind of agree that they're not the best, undefeated up until Washington at that point team that I had seen. But now I kind of just feel like that they could play loose, now they don't have that pressure of being undefeated and staying undefeated anymore. So I kind of think in some way that's a weight off their shoulders. I do agree with you. It's going to be an aired out game just with Josh Allen is having a crazy season, one of the best, I think the best season of his career.
So many 300 plus yard.
Yeah, so many 300 plus
games.
yard games. This season he's got 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions with an average QB rating of 105.9. So he's just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, and he's like right under 70% completion percentage. So
Yeah.
he's gunning them in there.
And he's got the weapons, with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. I really like that matchup. But like I said, Pittsburgh's defense is great, and Minka Fitzpatrick and their secondary, as well as TJ Watt and their D-line up front. They have a monstrous D-line. So I think Pittsburgh's going to take this one, just barely edge it. I think it's going to be, like you said, a high-scoring game. The over-under is 48 points. It's 48 points. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. The final score is going to be 33-30, and I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. You got a little bit higher than me. I got the Bills taking it 27-24.
Okay.
And I also have Allen. I feel like he's going to throw for 350 plus yards. I feel like he's going to go off, or well, I guess usual for him. And then Diggs is probably going to have 100, bump it up to 110 yards and a touchdown.
All right. Should be a good matchup, and we're looking forward to it. All right, I want to talk about this Dallas and Cincinnati game tomorrow. Dallas is going to visit Cincinnati. We're at the bottom of the NFC East, but I don't see this team start tanking now, not on purpose at least. That's something this organization has never done, and even though as much as I want them to, so that way we could maybe finish with the second, third overall pick and trade down for some more picks. That's something I would definitely do if I were the Cowboys, but nonetheless, it doesn't look like they're going to go that way, so I know we're going to play hard this game. I'm going to go ahead and say that Zeke has a big game tomorrow and has his second 100-yard rushing game of the year. And as well as that's going to go ahead and open up the play-action pass, and I feel like Andy Dalton's going to have a big game as well. Anywhere from 150 to 200 yards, I'm going to predict with 2 touchdowns. And Zeke, like I said, I think he's going to have a 100-yard rushing game. I am starting to gain some confidence in our offensive line the more the season goes on, especially after last week. We may have got gashed on defense, but our offensive line did take a step in the right direction, if you ask me, with some of their run blocks and being able to give Andy Dalton some more time in the pocket. I think it's going to allow Zeke to be the back that he has been in the past and be a patient runner. I did see a lot of glimpses of that last week when he was able to reverse field on that one run, as well as just not hitting the gaps as hard and waiting for the O-line to develop their holes. He did a good job of that last week, and if they could do that again this week, then I think we have a really good chance to win this game. On the other side of the ball, our defense has not been playing well this season, as you know. We are ranked dead last in stopping the run yards per game, rush attempts per game, and we're second to last in passing touchdowns allowed this season. Not looking good, so I think if we want to have a good game on that side of the ball, our linebackers need to step up and make some of the reads that they haven't been making or they didn't make last week against the Ravens when it comes to just coming down and stopping some of these runs. If we could find a way to stop Bernard, thankfully Joe Mixon's out and they don't have Joe Burrow, so we don't have to worry about 2 of their biggest weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And our defensive line needs to see if we get some pressure in some of these passing situations on a lot of these third and longs. We need to get to the quarterback. Tank is definitely one of our best run stoppers. I know his sack numbers haven't been there this year, but if you really sit down and take a look at the film, he's a very dynamic edge rusher still. He's very constantly beating his blocks, forcing the quarterback out of the pocket. A lot of times other players just aren't finishing the plays or even really giving him much help. He can only do so much as a defensive end. I would like to see a big game out of Randy Gregory as well on the other side of the ball. Ever since he's been back from suspension, he's been looking really good. Sadly, things didn't work out with Everson Griffin, so it's good to see somebody step up and try to make some plays. So I really do think Dallas is going to scrape by in this one. I'm going to go ahead and take Dallas 24-21, but it's going to take a lot from us on both sides of the ball, especially when it comes to stopping the run. That's, the biggest thing we're going to have to stress going forward. Everybody knows they can run on us. They've shown it time and time again, and we just haven't been able to stop anybody. So definitely be interesting going into tomorrow. So we'll see.